Hey y'all, welcome to Vetted and Vet Med, the podcast where two African American female veterinarians pull back the curtain on the life and the world of veterinary medicine. I'm Dr. Wilson.
And I'm Dr. Levy. Join us as we dive into real conversations about mental health, career transitions, work-life balance, and the unique experiences we face as Black women in veterinary medicine.
So go ahead, grab your stethoscope,
and get your favorite cup of coffee or wine, and let's get vetted in Vet Med.
Hi.
Hi, girl.
Good to see y'all.
Good to see you too.
It's been a crazy morning.
Is the cat okay?
No, he's doing way better. His potassium is still super high. We didn't do anything yet to help with that until just now. So he's been on fluids and stuff, but now we're doing the calcium gluconate and getting some dextrose in him as well. So, but he's doing way better than he was earlier, just on the fluids and the unblocking and all that. So
look at you, doctor. Okay, wow.
Man, the struggle. I'm not an emergency vet, you know what I mean? But
you're right.
One of those situations where they're like, we can't go nowhere else. So we're like, we're gonna do what we can, and we're gonna save his life, and go from there. So yes. How are y'all?
Doing good. So this is it's informal.
Oh yeah. Look,
so
sit back and just take a breath for the first time today.
Yeah, take a breath. Okay. Are you in an exam room?
This is the fifth exam room for the first practice that we don't use really that often. We have the 4 others, but then so we also have a clinic cat, my fourth cat named Gutterball. Mm-hmm. So this is literally like her. This is like Gutterball's room. So I will show you. She got a cat tree. She got her little bed and everything.
And got a big old room. That room is huge.
Ridiculous. So sometimes we get so busy that we have to use this room, but for the most part, we just keep her stuff in here. So
I'm also busy. That's what we like to hear.
Exactly.
Ayana, I haven't seen you in forever.
I know. My Sherrelle.
Yes. I was telling Davita about how long we've known each other, since undergrad, literally. It's freshman year.
We forget how long it's been.
Yes.
Honestly.
Yes.
Yeah,
and my bestie Davita.
We are so good.
Yes, I agree.
There's something about this age group, this bracket, from the 30s to the 40s, that bracket. We just, I don't know. We're not aging. We just getting better and better. We looking better and better.
Yeah. Yes.
Even despite the stresses, because I feel like we are going through more stress in our age bracket than these Gen Z, whatever they call
the historical things that have happened during our lifetime.
We've seen and experienced a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we still age them very well.
Somebody said it was all the preservatives we ate while we were little.
I mean, that could be it. You know what I mean? There's no scientific research to prove that, but I feel like I'm personally in a season of I just been seeing a lot about the glow up type stuff, trying to glow up and everything. And I was like, that's a really good and healthy thing to do if you do it right. If you're not trying to be like everybody else and be influenced by unhealthy habits and stuff.
Material things.
Right. But things wanting to take care of yourself, eat healthy, self-care, So I've been trying to really get on that bandwagon. So this is the 5th week that I've been waking up at 4 a.m., going to the gym by around 5, and then coming home to like get the boys ready and get the food in the crock pot for dinner and blah blah blah. But I find that like 4 a.m. time of just waking up and just like being has really helped like me just feel like I have something in the day to myself, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a word.
Yes. Yes. And it's better than just like waking up at 5 a.m. and going straight to the gym because I be tired. Like I'm like, I don't even know where I'm driving to right now. So I have to let myself wake up for a few
It
minutes.
gives you more time, yeah, because there's multiple things
Yeah.
that you want to do more than just work out too,
Yeah, you want to pray, you want to meditate, you want to do
Mhm.
your, gratitudes and your self-reflections and so
Mhm.
that's like from 4 to like 4:20, and then after that I'm like looking at my calendar and seeing what I have to do for the
Mhm.
day. And so I feel a lot less rushed. I feel a lot less pulled in every direction. And I feel
Yeah.
more like I have a like strong foundation to start the day. So when bad things happen, which they do, like literally, in this profession, there's something bad that can happen every single day.
Mhm.
Like you feel like you can better handle it and move forward. So
Yeah.
that's been helpful.
So I'm gonna go ahead and formally introduce
Oh
you.
yeah, we started. We
Um,
just jumped right in. I'm sorry.
Informal.
it does. The cameras don't stop rolling.
Yeah.
That is footage that will still be used.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
okay. So today we have my bestie. We have Dr. Sherrelle Milligan,
Hello,
who is
everyone.
also a veterinarian, a mom, and a multi-practice owner based in South Carolina. She was born and raised in Harlem, New York, and she also graduated from Tuskegee University College of Veterinary Medicine,
Hey,
TU.
you know. Yeah.
She went on to complete a residency in laboratory animal medicine and earned her PhD in veterinary pathobiology from Texas A&M with a focus on lipid metabolism. Known for her compassionate, thorough care, Dr. Milligan strives to make every pet and every pet parent feel seen, safe, and understood. Alongside her husband, Roderick, a Dartmouth Tuck MBA, and the business mind behind their practices, she's grown a veterinary group rooted in excellence, empathy, and strong leadership. Together, they balance entrepreneurship, family life, and a deep commitment to elevating the profession. She is a mom of their two precious boys, and she has four cats, one of which is named Gutterball, who lives at their first practice.
Yeah.
But you ain't shout out the house
I
cats.
know.
Well,
Yeah.
I know how much time we had, and so I was like, I'm gonna throw gutter ball in there, but I can talk
She
about
got to make the cameo. She got to make the cameo.
so
Where is Gutterball? Is she laying on top of the any patients?
no, not at this moment, no. She likes to hang out in the back where the treatment area is, because that's where her little like heated warming heated blanket that she likes to perch on, for the whole day, 130
Mm-hmm.
degrees. Gotta
She
be
is so
Fahrenheit to
blessed.
I'm telling you. And I didn't buy that, okay? I did buy
Sounds
this
like a
expensive
favorite.
like
She sounds
cat
like a
treat.
favorite to me.
She is.
Oh,
It is giving favorite. It
no.
It is.
is.
Because I don't get to see her like on the weekends. I don't really see her during the week unless I'm here, like, or if I come after
Mm-hmm.
hours, which,
You
happens
giving her
a
props?
lot. But yeah, 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 yeah. And I didn't buy her the heated thing. Like, IDEX bought that for her. Shout out to Natalie Brown,
Wow.
IDEX, for, taking care of Gutterball too. But yeah, everybody spoils her. She's a hot mess. But
Mm-hmm.
yes.
It's
Sound like
giving
a hot mess I would like to
it's street
Okay,
life the
like
pampered way.
I will come back as Gutterball next time. So yeah. No, the other three are like James and Duran, they're named after my husband's best friends that hate cats. So that, and then there's pumpkin patch that was going to get put down at the pet space. He presented with, first he presented with vomiting, just random vomiting. And he was on hard food. So I said, just switch him to pate. That works many times and that fixes vomiting. But then he also started having resorptive tooth clinical signs. And so he was like drooling a lot and like just super, super painful. And the owners couldn't afford the surgery. So I'm literally about to get this cat like sedated to put him down. And the owner leaves to, she didn't want to be around for the procedure. He's doing, I mean, she was very thankful when she found out after the fact that we didn't move ahead with it. But Roger comes back, he's like, stop, she left. And I'm like, he's like, don't do it. Okay, I'm like, you want me to not move forward with this? He's like, we're going to try to find a home for this cat. He's like, yes, we're going to try to find a home for it. So we ended up keeping the cat, of course. And I ended up fixing his mouth. Yes. So he's doing fantastic now. He just needed some teeth pulled and, he's living his best life. So.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, we've already, in our first episode, we introduced ourselves. We talked about our journey. So I did kind of want you to talk about what inspired you. Everybody wants to always know that. What inspired you to become a veterinarian? And then this venture that you're currently on is so different. I remember you saying that you would never own a practice.
True. Will not do it.
So I think it's very interesting, and I think that it'll definitely be something that people want to hear, especially with the road that you started on. So that's what we want to start there.
Okay. So, the typical, ever since I was little, I wanted to be a vet thing. I was 5 years old, I think, when I officially decided I wanted to be a vet.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, I remember. I was like, I think I want to.
At 5, right?
Yes, yes,
You meant that.
yes. But then, when I was a teenager, like kind of close to that age, I was kind of between being a pediatrician versus a veterinarian. And I knew I had a mouth when I was a teenager and I was talking back. And so I was like, do I want my patients to talk back like that? You know what I mean? So that was a very immature, because you don't realize you have to deal with the clients that, talk back and stuff too. And that's just part of it. But so that was part of that decision-making process. And so that's like a very generic introduction. But then you add on the fact that I grew up in the projects in New York. My parents, they did the best that they could for us, but neither one of them went to college. And so I just grew up seeing them work really hard for everything that they've been able to give us. But the environment doesn't tell you that that's something that you can be. You know what I mean? I just had to just hold on to the fact that this is what I'm doing. And I had lots of family that inspired me to continue to move forward with that desire to become a vet. And then as I got older, I started to understand what it took to get there and what kind of experience you need, who you need to talk to, that kind of thing. So went to Tuskegee, just like I heard y'all talk about single application type stuff. Tuskegee was the only school I applied for.
I love it.
Yes, so I was just begging, like, Lord.
Some great minds right there.
Yes, because I didn't want to go nowhere else. Like, I went to Tuskegee for undergrad so that I could go to Tuskegee for vet school, out the whole shebang. So got into Tuskegee. I went through vet school. During vet school, I did a lot of like lab animal medicine, research opportunities, anything that dealt with working with multiple species. Like, so I did some zoo medicine as well, monkeys, went to primate centers over the summers and things like that. And got into Texas A&M for my lab animal residency. Yes, that was the only residency program I applied for.
Yeah.
So I was very pleased when I got in. And during that program, I went through some things. And me and Davita, we were on the phone every day back then, because we literally went through our residency programs together. And, just went through a lot of like hostility, went through a lot of personal things. Hostility as in, racism, sexism. Texas A&M has a history of being not the best place for Black students. And so I actually had people warning me before I went there. And I was like, no, it's going to be great. You know what I mean? But, when you get there, and it's not everybody bad. In fact, like 98% of the people were wonderful. So I'm not, talking bad about the school itself, just certain people at that time that they allowed to be employed there. I remember one time when I was, so the residents all shared like a central pharmacy. And so there were the clinical residents, like your internal medicine and surgery and that kind of thing, that they were very familiar with. But lab animal, we had our own pharmacy, but we would sometimes get things from the central pharmacy. And when I went there to go pick up, I think I was picking up parvo tests because we were making sure our dog colony didn't have like an outbreak or something. The pharmacist is like, well, I don't know who the hell you are.
Mm-mm.
And I said, I'm blah, 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 blah. And I need blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I was so like embarrassed because in front of all the other colleagues, I'm having to be talked to, like that. And I didn't feel empowered at the time to really do anything about it because like the person that I would have went to was one of the people causing me hostility and issues anyway. So you see that person again and they try to make excuses about why they said that, oh, there's not a lot of Black people in my town. And I'm like, what does that have to do with me? Like, exactly. So anywho, thank goodness during my program, I got a new residency director who made my life so much better. She was amazing. And then my last year, I spent finishing my PhD. And then by around that time is when I really got like, I really understood this ain't what I want to do. You know what I mean?
After going through all of it.
Yeah, after going through all that and realizing like, I don't really like this much to be going through it. Like I'm literally just doing this so I don't quit, just so I can say I finished. You know what I mean? So with that being said,
I'm gonna stop you because I want you to talk about the
sorry.
struggle for the PhD,
The what?
the pushback that you received
Oh my God.
for the PhD.
That was a whole situation. So first, your residency director don't like you because you Black, whatever, because you're a woman, whatever, He said things like, I would do anything to have a resident with 2 testicles. I would do anything to have a resident with a beard. You know what I mean? He got fired my last year, during my PhD, after a whole like investigation and all that stuff. Like we had a resident take her life while she was going there. And not saying it's completely the fault of the university or the program, but definitely didn't make it better, So, so with all that in the background, this thing over here was trying to be the first anybody, Black person, woman, person, period, in that program to get her PhD and her residency at the same time. And it was a huge, like, just issue. My boss, my director, for some reason was anti-research, even though he's a lab animal vet. And so he he liked clinical, everything clinical, you know what I mean? He didn't appreciate time at the bench. He didn't appreciate, leaving to go to the lab to finish the project that I have to finish anyway to complete the program. And so, and then on the other end of the research side, my PhD mentor, who she's done so much for me, like I need to reach out and like say hi because it's been a long time since we spoke. Yes, I think so. But she's feisty too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we had some issues
Yes.
with her too, but
yes. So I was in the middle between the two. Trying to be a people pleaser, trying to make everybody happy, trying to like not get in trouble, trying to stay out of things and not really have a voice. And so that really made, it wasn't an easy experience. I finished and I'm happy I did. I can still say that I have that credential, and I use it sometimes. It is a nutrition based situation, but it was a hard time, and reproductive issues as well. Roderick and I suffered 2 miscarriages during my residency. Had to have surgery to fix my uterus so I can have kids. It was a whole thing, but we got through, and we got through in 4 years because I said I'm not spending no more time here. So Asher was born, actually, my 7-year-old, during that time, while I was there, and I took some 3 months off, kind of working at home, and taking care of him. And then while I was finishing my PhD, I was still nursing, so I would leave during lunchtime, go nurse him at the daycare because he wasn't really trying to drink bottles like that, and then go back to the bench and keep working again. So
Maybe that sounds why is stuff so similar? It's so crazy. When you know nothing about anybody's journey, you just the whole breast. Neither one of mine. My first would starve herself until I got home. She was hollering the whole time for the most part.
Yes.
But would not take a bottle. Second one would not take a bottle. Then pacifiers, then that's
no
craziness.
Nothing artificial.
Oh, but also, Sherrelle, I have 2 kids. I don't know if you know this or not.
No, yeah. I do know now. I knew when I listened to I think you said it maybe in the first podcast, perhaps.
Yeah.
I knew, and when we were at Dartmouth, we spoke because we were gonna do a kids skincare thing or something like that.
Yeah,
that
girl,
life.
Random.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew you were a mom. I don't know if I knew you had 2 until recently. So congratulations.
Oh, thanks. It's just funny because I never post them or anything like this. So when I'm talking to people and I'm like, oh yeah, I got 2 kids.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know.
So that was funny.
How old are your babies?
5, one just turned 5, and I got a 2-year-old.
Got that too.
2-year-old Virgo, second child.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Placed in a little old lady. Yeah. So fun times. Yes, I'm sending all the strength of motherhood your direction, because that too is nothing else. It's no joke. That is hard.
And it don't stop it too.
Oh no,
it continues on into 3. It just gets worse.
No,
and it goes into 4.
They get better.
It gets better at 4, but we still got a little bit of stuff we trying to work out.
Right.
Some new things. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of vet school. It's all the different types of challenges in each year. When things disappear, but also new things arise. So yeah.
Yes. And then neither one is the same, You go through one and you're like, okay, I got this. And then the other one has its own set of challenges and stuff that you so
for sure. Well, this is you had a couple of different segues that I wanted to take an opportunity and talk about, what it's like being a Black woman in this field, because we didn't know you're Black women as well. So we talk about it, but also, we're talking about motherhood and, family life. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to talk about both.
Yes. So with the Black woman thing, I'll also pair in the whole business ownership thing, and because I think it's partially related. You go through things when you work at different hospitals. You know what I mean? Y'all discussed that before, and I came to the conclusion that I won't be able to control my work life and the toxicity that can come with just being in vet med unless I'm in charge. Because I've been at so many different clinics where you would think the person that's in charge would be the one to make sure toxicity wasn't a thing. And it's that person that's actually causing the toxicity. It's what do I do?
Yeah.
I can't tell them to fire you.
Why is the problem? I'm like, why is that always the case?
It's always the case. Always. And it's not just in, in private practice. It's corporate, it's in academia. Like the person in charge, usually, many times, it's the person that's the problem.
Yeah.
And so I
That
make
abuse of power.
what's
For
that?
sure. That abuse of power.
That abuse of power, exactly. Like they get the big head and they just feel like, everybody's below them. They can talk to everybody the way they want to. And you technically can, but that doesn't mean like people are gonna stay to work with you.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
you can't get employees, you don't have a business. Like so, but even more so as like a Black woman, just being able to like be in control of things like the sensitivity towards having pets come in with derogatory names. A pet comes in with a
Say that.
derogatory name, and you go places and you feel like it's not being taken seriously, or like people are looking at you sideways for thinking anything of it. And it's like, I just don't want to hear that in a vet clinic, and I don't want to hear a pet being called that either.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure like our non-veterinary listeners do not realize like that's a thing.
that is a thing. That is a thing.
And it's a far more common than people even can fathom.
Oh my gosh. Roderick was on the phone with this one lady. And sometimes you just gotta laugh, like, like, why are you doing this? So of course, the white woman, very Southern, not Southern. Southern is one thing, but being, kind of country is another thing. You know what I mean? That's kind of where she was.
Yeah.
Why is she yelling on the phone, calling her dog the N-word? And I'm like,
And that's the dog thing.
what makes you think he deserves to be called that? Like, why are you doing that? Like, why the dog? You know what I mean? Like, so Roger's like in shock on the phone with her, and then she's like, "I'm so sorry." She apologizes and stuff, because you can't just switch it up. Like, if that's who you are, it's just gonna come out. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
If that's what you do, if that's the language you're using,
don't try to switch up now.
exactly.
Yeah. And you calling him that all the time.
She has like how do I say this? It's more so like her having like a Black boyfriend and Black friends, and then being in that community kind of thing.
Okay, so we're there.
Yes, versus like anti-Black, like racist, like KKK type. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean,
but I digress. That's a whole other conversation.
Yes. Either way, she shouldn't be using the word. So we still have her come in because the dog needs to be seen. That's business that needs to come in. And I'm focusing on the dog. I'm not really focusing on that. But when she gets here, I said, if we move forward, we're going to call your dog nice things, right? We're not going to call him mean things while you're in this clinic. No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. And we've had a great relationship since then, and that's the kind of mindset, like, as an owner, that I have to have, because I have to think about if I want to get this money and save this animal or not. It wasn't like a death thing, but do I want to help this animal, or do I want to, turn him away because of something his owner did, And I think because I have the choice as an owner, it's a lot easier for me to say yes or no. Versus if I wasn't an owner, I would feel some kind of way if they still forced me to see the animal. You know what I mean? So now I can make the personal choice about how I feel about the specific situation and decide if I want to move forward. Definitely a benefit.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna stop you and say that's very mature of you.
Yeah.
To react in that way, because honestly, I don't know what I would say right now, but a year ago would have been like, cut the cameras. It's a wrap. You might as well go ahead and find somebody else, because listen, it's probably the trauma talking and
that's it. That's
all the things. Like, but
right.
I have to commend you on being very mature. you just made me think of more like in the spay and neuter clinic that I'm working at. This just happened the other day, where there's a little black dog and so cute. There was a name on there. It was scratched out, and then Sinead was written in, and I was like, okay. And so
Our hackles
later
going.
on,
I'm like,
huh?
look, now.
Now listen, because it gets good. So later on, I was talking to the nurse, and I was doing my surgeries, and she came up to me. It's one of my favorites. Shout out Priscilla, hey girl. And she was like, I was talking to this lady, the owner of this dog. I was doing a dog surgery, and she was just like, I liked her until she, said something racist. I said, "Brr, brr." Like, stop sewing whatever I was sewing. I was like what? Tell me what it is. I'd forgotten about the whole Shanae thing, and I was like, oh, the dog's name is just different than what they had in the system. And so she was like, well, she said sometimes, she acts like a black woman. She has a little attitude like a black woman. And I was like,
and what is that?
And she said, everybody in the clinic just kind of stopped. She said, we white, but we ain't that kind of white. I said, okay, first of all, kudos to you for talking about things in an Alec kind of way when nobody's around. I appreciate it.
Yes.
But girl, what? An attitude like that. So you name her Shanae. I said, so when I finished, I said, well, you also let her know that a black woman zipped her up like a plastic surgeon, okay?
Okay.
Don't do that.
Without an attitude, okay?
Period.
Yes.
What does that even
mean? I cannot. The good thing is that, I've also had it the other way, where I've had white people go above and beyond to say how happy they are to see me there, in South Carolina.
Yes, says a lot, right?
Yeah, we are happy that you are here. When I acquired the second practice, there was a whole 30 years worth of clientele that were used to the, other vet, that looks like exactly what veterinarians look like back then, white males, you know what I mean? And so, every time I walk in the room and I'm not him, it's like a huge, up for the people that didn't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That didn't get the message. It's this huge, that kind of thing, which I'm used to. Just being a black woman in general as a veterinarian, that just get that, yep, I'm the vet, yep, I look young, yep, I've been doing this 11 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's people that have gone above and beyond to say, wow, I know that there's not that many black veterinarians. And so it's just so good to see one in our community, to go as far as to say that,
Yeah.
But yeah, people don't realize there is a black woman back there that has your animal's life in her hands now.
Shanae and all. Because I'm a ride for Shanae.
Yes, right, exactly.
Right.
Another people don't realize is that when people act a certain way, that can really mess up the medicine. You know what I mean? I'll admit, if someone is being rude or racist or sexist or ridiculous, I do my best, and I feel like I do a good job, but it's a distraction,
Yeah.
so when people treat us like that, it can be a distraction, and they're really putting their animal's life in danger by talking to the person who has enough pressure on themselves already, and now I have to do this thing with the backwards thinking of, this is something that her mom said,
Yeah. An adverse event associated with that might not even necessarily be intentional. There may be some evil people out there that is or trying to get revenge because they feel a certain kind of way.
Right.
Yeah.
But for the mass majority of us, we really are there trying to do our best, and mistakes can happen as a result of having to deal with that or feeling like the person doesn't even trust me with their pet anyway. So
oh my God,
having to get past that.
Oh my God.
Like that's big. Like you gotta get through those emotions, and it's a lot of things that have to be buried so that we can move on with the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a client. So one of my wonderful nurses went in to get blood on the dog, and she was having a hard time getting it. It was just like big chunky dog trying to get an arm vein for a chem 10 or something like that. And she couldn't get it. You know, she tried twice, came and got me. They're cool. I get in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh right, you know, I understand why you couldn't get this. His arm is really hard to get blood from. Let's get it from his neck. Are you guys okay? I don't want to do that. I don't I don't want to do that. I don't no, we're not doing that to my dog. I'm like, have you had an issue with jug sticks before? Nope, nope, but not worth the risk. Not doing it. Not the risk.
What risk?
I was like, I was talking to the dog, right? I was like, you know, your veterinarian can get blood from a mouse vein, right? Like I did. That's what I said
Yes,
to the dog.
yes,
Like,
yes.
because I'm gonna talk to the dog. Okay, we're gonna have a conversation. So you're gonna be okay. And I was like, that's okay. I ended up getting it from the back leg. You know what I mean? And it went well, but there was a mistrust. There was an absolute mistrust when I came in there. And even when you're explaining what's going on, there's this like know-it-all type mentality,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I don't try to always think somebody's racist, but in that situation, it absolutely was. When I talked to my nurse about it, who's not Black, she's white, she was like, oh no, they weren't like that with me. She was like, it was not, they were very nice. They were very like straightforward. They were very trusting and everything. They didn't start acting like that till they saw you come in. And I was like, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
thought.
That stuff is exhausting.
It
It
is.
does. It
It's
does.
like, let me just do my job. Like, that I'm really, really damn good at it. So, like, you
Okay.
want to say something.
Right.
Right.
Let's talk about the reality of things. Like,
Yeah.
it ain't because of my professionalism or my skill set. It's because of your ignorance
Yeah.
and your choice to be choosing violence in this situation. Like,
Right.
Right.
Right. You obviously have a problem. You know, not me.
talk about it, girl. Let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yes. 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 So that was something that happened last week, actually, in my own hospital, you know? And so, you know, I have to be
Right. I'm
like,
like, meanwhile, right. Meanwhile, you're the owner of the clinic.
I'm
You
like, by
just
the
want to
way,
come in to get some blood.
if you need
Having a
anything,
deep question.
you know,
Right.
you throw it in there. Like, if you need something, I am the owner of this practice.
That's when you got to play those cards. I'm like, I think we're all pretty modest, but like
Absolutely.
there are times when you just got to play those cards.
Pull
You
this
got to
up.
play the cards. Yeah.
Bam.
And that's
Big,
when I'd
big
be
bam.
happy to go up to the front to talk to somebody. This was non-racial, but it was another Black woman that was questioning like the credentials of the veterinarian that was going to be doing the neuter for her dog. She wanted to know my name. I was like, give her my license number too. She can look me up online. Like you
Right.
can look up anybody online. And I'm like, I've been practicing for, at that time, it was about 10 years. So she wasn't sure she wanted to proceed with the neuter. So when she came to pick him up, I went out there like to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dr. Levy. And I just talked to her about myself, about the procedure itself. And of course it ended up coming back on my schedule to neuter him. I don't know if that was intentional or if it just happened to come back on me. So I'm like, I really need to make sure, like I have no doubt that he'll be fine, but like I really
Yeah.
which he was, but you know, initially I was annoyed because I'm like, ma'am, like we're not just back here like just running amok. Like, it's a very routine procedure, which anything can happen anytime. But in that moment, I just felt the distrust and I felt like I really had to like prove myself to this owner. And there's been other situations like that. And I'm like, I'm tired of having to prove myself to these people because you can go anywhere. Like, there are so many clinics that if you don't trust us, like, because she was like, I never met that doctor before. And I'm like, okay, hi, here I
You don't
am.
have to.
We've been
I mean, you do, but like,
you meeting me is gonna just magically sprinkle more surgical skills on my
and
end.
let me play devil's
Right.
advocate really quick.
Yes,
When I got back to Mississippi, I was looking at some folks real side-eyed and their capabilities. Because I was like, no, you were real wrong in that situation. And this incision looks really bad. And you like have no conversations with this owner. And now I'm the person, the relief doctor at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're finna come for your life. Because needless to say, she didn't work there very long after that. Sometimes you have to question things.
Oh yeah,
sometimes
yes, agreed. Yeah, and that right there, being the relief vet and just seeing this baby for the first time, and something happens before you, I'm like, you know what? I'm not really sure, why this is the way it is. But we're gonna help you out today, okay?
we're gonna get it right.
We gonna get you right.
We gonna fix you.
Yes.
Right.
I also don't want to skirt past. I got to go back. When you say, I want to talk about, and you don't have to go into great detail, but this is more so as a mom going through the miscarriages and then still like you were still working, and having to go back to work. And then once you did finally have Asher, that whole, like, I just want to talk about the emotional, the mental toll of having to go through those challenges and still having to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, girl, you still showing up.
Man, I think having Roderick, my husband, to tell me, don't quit, keep going. That was really helpful. Also having Davita to talk to every day on the phone while we were going through things together, that was really helpful.
Love it.
Yes. That was like that really made it happen. Like every day I was like, okay, I got a new news break for you, more stuff happening. But it was hard. A lot of it was trauma from just stuff that you're going through personally. And then that kind of spills into the work life. If, people at work know about it, or if you have like, this is when I had to go off on my director because I think Davita knows about this story, but like, it was a day that I found out I was miscarrying the second child. And there was a big meeting at our translational research facility at A&M. And so I went during lunchtime for the ultrasound, found out there was no fetal heartbeat. So I was devastated, but I'm like, okay, I got to go to this important meeting for the study coming up. Just get through it. And then you can deal with what you're going through after the fact, when you get home. Or on the way, call the beater and tell what's going on on the way home. And I was good until I went in there and my residency director was upset because we didn't tell him that one of the other residents had some kind of like flu or something like that. Like, it was my responsibility to tell him what's going on with this other girl. Like, and I didn't even know anything was going on with her. But he was upset because he didn't know she had to like go home early or something like that. And I'm just like, so he's going off on me in front of everyone, like literally like human doctors, cardiologists, blah, blah, going off about not being told about the thing, me and another resident. And I'm like, this is not the day.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Here come Harlem.
I was like, this is not the day.
Right, here come Harlem. Yeah. Wrong day, wrong person, wrong time.
Harlem,
I had to put it for the good.
Loud and wrong.
Wrong day. So he says to me, because he can see like I'm emotional.
Going through something.
If you're gonna cry, just leave the room.
Mm.
I'm crying so I won't beat your ass.
I said, no, I said, no, you're the one that needs to leave the room because you're not the one that found out you're having a miscarriage today.
Mm.
Make them feel like crying.
I didn't use no curse words. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm still able to keep that. And I just sat there and he left. So once he left, I left and went in the other room and just, broke down or whatever. So that kind of shows you like how interconnected like during that time, like the trauma was with like what I was going through with also what I was going through at Texas A&M. And I think the question was asking about like how did I get through it? Is that what you were asking, Davita?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, having that personal help, having a spiritual relationship with God and realizing there is something more than you that's in control. You know what I mean? That was a huge help. You feel like you're by yourself, you feel like what's next? You know what I mean? You feel abandoned and having that kind of like gratitude for what you do have also was really really good for me. And I think it's also because like I already been through so much. I'm like I ain't going I gotta like I'm from Harlem, like we don't quit, like
Just got
we
to
keep going, you know what I mean? Don't Can't stop, won't stop.
Look, you had to say it up.
Because we from the same place.
Whew.
That's a whole other can of worms.
Oh man.
But it's that grit of like not being afraid to go through stuff and saying, I'm not quitting. Like I'm not letting anybody stop me from trying to accomplish something that I want to accomplish. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna keep trying to have a baby too because I feel like I'm supposed to be a mom. And so it was the grit that I developed growing up, having positive people in my life that told me I could. And it really was also like when I self-diagnosed my problem because I went to 3 human doctors that couldn't tell me what was wrong with me. And I looked at my own clinical signs.
Hello, T.
Found a doctor that agreed with me.
Ain't that something?
Yes.
Right. That's a whole conversation on its own.
Oh,
No shade to the MDs.
no
If you
shade.
listen,
No shade. No
but
shade.
No
go
shade to the human doctors. You know what I mean? But there's definitely a issue with the way our healthcare system is set up.
yeah.
And there's also an issue
Remember.
with, the same thing as being a Black woman. Like you telling somebody what's going on with your body and people not listening to you, you know what I mean? And taking what you have to say seriously. I've had, like, I remember I was getting ultrasounded and the ultrasound technician was trying to tell me what was going on with my body. And I'm like, that's not what's going on. Oh, okay, well, I'm telling you that's what it is. I've been doing this for a long time. And like the clinical signs don't make sense. So I'm just gonna keep going somewhere else. You know what I mean? When I was born, like my mom, young Black woman, she was like 20 years old. She was in labor, goes to tell the doctors, like, I'm in labor, like I need to be seen. Didn't believe her, didn't believe she knew what was going on with her body. Sent her home, and guess who was born on the floor in the projects?
I'm laughing because like that's a whole nother
That's a whole other
story in itself, right?
Yes.
Like I'm a fighter, like girl. I was born on the floor, like don't do that.
Right.
Don't do me. Don't.
I was born in a car. We won't talk about it often, but
You were born in a car?
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
That's
That's insane.
I was trying to
No,
have my child in the car because I didn't want to go to the hospital because of all those reasons. But she was almost born in the car. Look, it's okay.
it's all right. We
You
still
got
here.
look. That's the start of your survival story, girl.
Exactly. You gotta start from the bottom.
That's a wrap for this episode of Vetted and Vet Man. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation as much as we did.
We're all about keeping it real, sharing our stories, and creating space for women, especially Black women, in veterinary medicine to feel seen, heard, and supported.
If you love what you heard, don't forget to download our episodes, subscribe to the podcast, and leave us a review. It helps others find us.
And stay connected with us on social media. We're sharing behind the scenes moments, resources, and a whole lot of real talk. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Vetted and Vet Med, and visit our website at vettedandvetmed.buzzsprout.com.
Plus, join our growing community on YouTube by subscribing to our channel. It's a space for deeper conversations, support, and all the good vibes.
Thanks for vibing with us. Until next time, take care of yourself and each other. You've been vetted and vet med.